Today on To The Point, we are doing something we have never ever done before, and we're talking Boys Dance 2.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Welcome on into The Point with Kristen Burt. I am so excited you guys are here today. We have a full house, and we're doing something a little different. We're shaking up the format a little bit. We're doing our very first roundtable here at To The Point, and I'm excited because it's a topic that you heard a lot about this summer, Boys Dance 2, and it's one of those things that the media, jumps on and then they forget about. But I've been hearing it throughout the dance industry as I've been doing all my interviews that the discussion's still going on, and we need to continue to move this discussion forward in a positive manner. So I have gathered dancers from all generations, different genres, to join me here today, and I'm so excited. So I'm going to start across the table from me. Rob Glover, welcome to the show.
Hello, love. How are you?
Hello.
You all right?
No, I just want everyone to know, Rob and I met at the Dancing with the Stars wrap party last year.
It's true.
Yes, and so it is our friendiversary, as I said yesterday when I saw you at the finale yesterday.
Friendiversary.
Friendiversary.
I love that
too.
phrase.
Sitting next to him, Jonah Boswell.
Hello, hello.
You are the youngest one on the panel today.
I am.
I love this.
16 years old, that's me.
I know, you're our baby, but this is good because we're really getting your perspective. Your voice needs to be heard too. Mm-hmm. And then to my left, my friend Howard Johnson. How are you?
I'm so good.
I know a lot of So You Think people are probably very familiar with your face, of course. And I just want everyone to know that kind of a conversation Howard and I had, was this maybe 6 weeks ago?
Maybe, yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Somewhere.
He and I had been talking about some things, and Boys Dance 2 kind of is lumped into this, and I was like, I want to do something. I can't figure out what, whether it's an article, but this is kind of what inspired me from our conversation at Starbucks. Just down the street from here. So we'd like to thank Starbucks for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, but thank you for a really good, frank conversation.
Yes.
And so I'd like to kind of get everyone up to speed, and just so everyone knows kind of like when each of you started dancing and what sort of your specialty is in terms of dance style, because I think that also will play in a little bit. So Rob, I'll start with you.
Perfect. So, I'm originally from Liverpool, England. There was it was more the music scene that kind of made our city famous, and then on the sports side of things, the football team as well. My other big passion.
Yes.
We won't dive into that today.
We call it soccer here.
Yeah, soccer, real football, the type of football you play with your feet.
Yes.
It's kind of what we say. But I grew up. So dancing started for me because of my grandparents. My grandparents were dancers and dance teachers, and they used to teach a lot of country line dancing. So not only that, it was country music, which was then still a taboo thing in Liverpool, back in England.
So cool.
Oh yeah. People like to say the Beatles were a country band, if you'd ask certain people within that community. But no, so it was line dancing, and it was their way of keeping me out of trouble, was to go and dance, and I got 50 pence for every dance that I learned. So quickly I realised I could maybe make a bit of money at this. Fast forward, then it was try some ballet to aid me football, and that was fantastic. I got hooked on that side of things too, and then it morphed into a lot of the couples-based dancing. So Latin and ballroom, taking those lessons when I was a kid and diving right the way through, and then dance college, hitting all that side and moving forward. It came full circle then when I pushed forward, and I knew I always wanted to move over to the States. A lot more opportunities in America than there were back then in England. Definitely things have changed now, and back in England it's a strong, passionate community as well. But coming over here, it was a case of really kind of pushing couples dance, and then it's morphed into now a lot of narrowed down focus in the swing dance genres.
And you're here in town actually for a competition this weekend.
I am.
So
good dancing in a couple of days' time.
I love. You're ready, right?
Sure.
Okay, great.
Sure.
All right, Jonah, you're in a performing arts high school too. You're in Orange County, right?
Yes, I go to OSHA, Orange County School of the Arts. It's in Santa Ana. And I started dancing actually when I was 11 years old, so not too long ago. Yes, really late.
We got some late dancers over here.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I did all the sports first. I tried baseball, soccer, football. I did water polo. I mean, I did every sport you could think of, and was like, nope, my heart's not in it. And one day, my mom was like, how about dance? And I was like, sure. I've never tried that before. We did and took a class, and I was like, okay, I like it, and kept taking more and more. And my first recital, I did one dance, and then a year later, I was in 22 dances.
Whoa.
The second year. I went from 1 to 22. So I sparked love within the first year, for sure, and I just have been plugging away ever since. I mean, I'm a sophomore in high school, so I dance A lot. I dance at school all day. We have our academics in the morning, a little bit how OSHA works. We have our academics in the morning, and then at 1:30 we get done, and then at 2:15 we start dancing and go till 5 o'clock at night. And then from there I go from school and I go to the studio and train there till about 9 at night. And then I go home, homework, go to bed, and do it all again the next day. Wow. But, it's a big commitment, but if I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it. And it brings me so much joy to do that every day and see people I love and I know and be surrounded by that community, and just the support that you get at that school is immense with anything you do. I mean, it's a performing arts high school, so it's not just dance, it's musical theater, it's acting, it's singing, it's literally everything. There's culinary department. I mean, anything arts and visual you would think, they support it there and they promote it, and it's really an awesome field to be in, and just surrounded by that oftentimes is really feels special, and you feel like you have to pinch yourself sometimes. You're like, am I really here? And
you're in a good bubble.
Right.
That's what it is.
A really good bubble.
A really good bubble where everyone is, we're pursuing this and we're focused, and you have that support, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Howard.
Hey.
Another late dancer, right?
Yeah, I started dancing at 17, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm originally from New York, upstate New York. I started dancing at 17. It was really random. My best friend, she was a dancer, but we were both training in pastry arts. So I was in the pastry world, not knowing anything about dance.
You could have gone to school.
Right? You could have gone to OSHA.
I could have. But yeah, not knowing anything about dance. There was a talent show coming up, but she was a dancer at heart. So she was a pastry chef, but she loved to dance also. And she was like, oh my God, you have to do this duet with me. We should do a hip hop dance. So we did the talent show. It was really weird for me. I was like, this is so weird, We performed. We ended up winning the talent show. Really random. The director of the talent show happened to be the director for the musicals. And we just so happened to be doing West Side Story that year at the high school I went to. Yes. So she needed as many boys as possible. She gathered me because she thought I would be a great, value to the show, I guess. So she gathered me. Then we started training for the musical, and then she put me in the dance program that was at the high school. She was like, you have to try it out. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it. Tried it out, fell in love with it right away, started dancing every day. I used to skip math class to go to the dance studio in high school because that's how
I don't know if do we recommend that?
Right. You don't recommend it,
but you should be able to balance your checkbook, right?
Right, absolutely, right. But my passion was just so strong, and I was like, this is so weird. I've never felt so good about doing something before, because I was looking for that passionate inspiration spark for me, and I was like, dance is it. This is it. I've never felt like this before.
I don't know if anyone's ever seen. He's in one of those with. I know you've got amazing extension too, but he's got that ridiculous 180 extension. Did you just wake up one day and go, "Oh, I can do it"?
Morning.
So it's interesting. So the director actually, when we were in class and we did the warm up for the first time, we did all those splits and stuff, and I hit them for the first time, and I naturally realized I was naturally flexible. But it wasn't anywhere near to where I am now, but it was obviously
a good start,
and we just, from there, I advanced it a lot.
Darn, so much of it is what you're born with, the tools you're born with.
True, right?
I know, I'm
so true.
I wasn't born with that tool. So this summer, when the whole sort of explosion of what we're talking about, Prince George taking ballet class, which I think is the cutest thing ever, and I love that he loves it, but it kind of exploded into a whole different direction. And, Prince George was teased a little bit on air, but what came out of it was the dance community rising together and the hashtag of Boys Dance Too, which Brian Friedman sort of helped propel. And if you guys haven't seen that interview that I did with him, he kind of talks about the whole beginnings of that, and then sort of Travis taking it over and Robbie Fairchild, and then it led to doing dance class in the middle of Times Square, which I wish I was even there to watch. But how did it make you feel? Because I think it's got to be a whole mix of emotions, because I'm sure some of you guys have been teased. In other ways, you're probably really proud that everyone's supporting each other through this. Anyone can jump in.
I'd say, just because I'm in high school and before I went to OSHA, I went to a regular public middle school, and that stigma is still exists to this day. You get teased and you get poked around like, oh, you do dance, that's weird, that's a girl thing, and that has been going on for years, and that just seems to be the norm. Oh, they do dance, that's just weird. You tease them, that's the norm. Yeah. And to see Prince George get nationally teased about what he did, especially by so many people, I think it was shocking. But then to see so many male dancers come out and come forward, not just male, but the dance community come out and surround and support him and what he does, and to let everyone know that's okay. He can do that. It's what he loves, and if why would you take someone away from what they love to do? That's just not right. So I think just to see the dance community come out and support him in that fashion was heartwarming to me, and I think it was to everybody else in the dance industry as well, just to see that there are people who are listening and they're aware of what's going on, and that they're there to support you, and they're there to build you up on what's going on in the dance industry, whatever that might be, the stigma that's going on. This has been going on obviously for a long time, and I think that the support for the male dancers is immense right now, especially after this came out, and I think that's such a great thing. And I think if we can keep that propelling forward and keep the wall of support, we're here for you, I think if we can keep that moving and keep that developing, I think that's something huge that we can get on our side as male dancers especially.
And athletes. You
Yeah.
guys are athletes.
Yeah.
I mean, well and truly, it's really fascinating for me to sit here and for you to say, I'm still at high school and I'm still feeling that. To answer your question, how did it make you feel? It took me back to the place that you are currently at, right? And that was kind of the first iteration of that, and especially kind of growing up back in England and in that feel, it's a very much a sports-based town, and it's no one really dances, and within that feeling, it's that thing that I feel like within Western cultures as a whole, people don't necessarily dance, or lads don't necessarily dance until you're up at a party and everyone wants to have a go, or a
wedding.
Typically, it's a wedding dance, right? And that's kind of all you get to hear. So for me, what was really interesting is it was kind of a double-edged sword. The fact that I am living in America and that I'm based over here, so I got to kind of see it firsthand. But then it hit me again as that wave kind of traveled up and people woke up the next day in England, and then it hit that press, because the press in England can be crazy as well. So then it was, I found myself being defensive. No, hang on a minute, and then, whether or not I like the royal family or I'm a big royal family fan, at the end of the day, this is a lad who loves what it is that he does, and the simple fact that such a high-profile family, and that they're, his parents, his mum and dad, regardless of who they are, were so proud of the fact that their son is pushing forward and is passionate about it. Like that to me, I was more proud of the fact of, them pushing that and putting that out in the open on such a platform that is strong. I think to me, I took more of a positive spin on it than I did from a negative place.
Yep.
It was kind of that. Here we go again. Right. But then I know that I've got this whole dance family behind me to be able to just go, we're all in this together. There was no, well, what should we do? There was no, where does it go from here? It just acted, it happened, Times Square happened. She apologized within that feeling, and rightly so. And without diving into that too much, I think that she handled that really, really well.
Right. Yeah.
So I think raising awareness can come from many different angles, and unfortunately that's where the shell cracked. It reared its head, and we're stronger for it on the other side.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think they hit all the hard spots. I think me seeing the Times Square thing happen was just simply that the world just needs more love and more kindness, and we're especially in a time right now where hate is like the last thing that we need. We just need to all unite, come together. We're stronger together, and at the end of the day, that's all we have is us. So it's just crazy how you can just do what you love and someone or people attack you for it, and instead of it should be the complete reverse. Like, I don't get how we're in a world right now where hate is easier than to love.
Yeah, because we sit behind a keyboard too. You know what I mean? People just tweet things out, and but it's. I always say it's like something within you if you're throwing that hate out there. One of the big discussions too that kind of came out of this, and this happens a lot, I think, to young male dancers, is that they consider dance to be like a girl sport, or and it's always this conversation. We've had it a lot here on the show about masculine and feminine, and I feel like as a female. I can dance masculine, I can dance feminine, depending on how I interpret the music or how I'm feeling or anything else. Like, I think we have both of those qualities within ourselves. The ballroom community is also doing something interesting, and where a couple doesn't have to be a male and a female anymore. It's lead and follow. And I feel like a lot of this is kind of like washing away. What is everyone's thought sort of on the whole? I would love to just get rid of the masculine feminine description of in dance. Right. If that makes sense.
I think no matter whether you dance, you cook, you're a mom or a dad, every human has a masculine and a feminine side, and you choose whether or not to build each side up, and I think at different times and at any given day you can have a feminine side or a masculine side showing. At one point you could be at 1 o'clock more manly, and at 5 o'clock more more womanly. You may say, but like whatever that means,
what does that
right?
mean?
Exactly. I just
And
think
what does it matter?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
what does it mean? But what does it matter, right?
Exactly, because
What does that
if
feel?
everyone has it, then why is it so weird? And I think to get rid of the masculine and the feminine and just be considered an art form or a dance, like there is no masculine and feminine and just the movement quality to it. Yes, you can have like a masculine,
powerful.
right?
Could
Well,
be
truly.
soft. Yeah, lyrical.
Yeah.
Well and truly. I mean, what I find really interesting too on that side is I love to say that I look at the world through a dancer's lens. Everything to me is choreography. You mentioned Starbucks before. To me, that's choreography, right? And I'm sure that you guys can echo that. And the feeling is that I do watch a lot of sports. I watch many different things, or I love going to different things. And the amount of commentators that will come out and go, "Oh, he looks like he's dancing through that." Like they'll throw away lines, and it'll be accepted within that side. But then to bring it back to what is masculine and feminine, if you think music again, to bring back to music, I feel like a lot of the great musicians and great singers always emulated the opposite sex, right? So you feel like Michael Jackson, it was all of those, that Prince to a T. I mean, Aerosmith, like when you think of kind of like these big bands or these big artists, they would always emulate what was going on. I mean, Steven Tyler, you look at Janis Joplin and you go, hang on a minute, what's happening here? You know what I mean? Like it's the same, it's within that field. So I feel like within other industries or within different categories, the way you say that, like the feeling is that, I just wish it wasn't that for dance. And how does that conversation change? Or when does that happen? Or how does that tweak? That's kind of the questions that keep me up all night.
All night. Rob, good luck tonight. Good brain spinning.
I mean, I guess, for me, like, I'm a professional dancer in LA, and it's hard because you go to these classes and your job is to dance for that artist, and you're being automatically put in a category, whether it's going to be masculine or a feminine type choreography. You know what I mean? So it's like your job to either stay true to who you are, or your job to switch the role, whatever role you wanted to portray in the song in the first place, and give the choreographer what they want. And that's where I guess the conversation starts, whether are we going to break that norm of, oh, you're a man, so you have to dance masculine, or are we going to break the role of, can you dance feminine as well as if you had a girl by you, can you dance just like her? You know what I mean? Or vice versa. Like, it shouldn't be one way or the other, I guess. You know
And
what
I think
mean?
someone like Pink is kind of someone that really just kind of puts out there of like,
Right.
we're all athletes. Her dancers are. Nick and RJ do great choreography for her. And she does all that incredible aerial work and sings upside
Crazy.
down too.
Yeah.
By the but off the top of my head, that to me is an example of someone that just doesn't say like, I just want feminine or I just want masculine.
One type of
Everyone,
movement,
exactly.
This is who I am. This is who we are.
Yes.
Deal with it.
And it makes a huge difference.
It's unreal.
How is the ballroom community handling the rule change with the sort of lead and follow? Because I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? So you've got iterations of it, and if you look at the history, right? So the dance form, 300 years of this dance form that is there, and it was. I mean, it was a courtship feeling that went into these different dances, and yes, there is this still, a man and a woman within frame or within that feeling. But I feel like, as things are developing, and I think I want to say first and foremost, it's more even the instructors. It's kind of, you're going to teach these events, and it rolls off. Lads do this, girls do this. No leaders if you're in this position, or followers in this position. So it's hard even for instructors to get caught on out, or teaching different things. I feel like then even in the West Coast swing community, the improvisational competitions that we do is still called a Jack and Jill. And there's even a conversation to that. Well, what does that mean? But you can. I mean, do you identify as a leader? Do you identify as a follower? And then you can even kind of level up in both. So now that's the coolest thing. So you're starting to do that. And then I work, I originally Liverpool, but I'm based in Boston. I've been in Boston for 11 years.
My hometown.
Yeah, Boston. That's it, love. Go Sox, by the way.
I know.
The coolest thing that we're doing as well in Boston is we have every Wednesday we get 150 to 180 college kids. So it's all at collegiate level, dancing West Coast swing now, which is cool. And the ballroom communities within that. So, the same-sex couples, those competitions too. So it's not only just the lead and follow, it's the switching roles, and you're encouraged to do that. We call them the fun dances as well, or kind of let's shake up different partnerships. So I think that there's many different ways of exploring it. The nicest part, and to kind of tie that all in or bring it full circle, is that they're open to it and that the conversations are happening. And then it really falls on the event directors. Like, they're getting free reign to say, hey, no, this is my event, this is what I want to do, and this is what my community or my people want. And if you don't, then stay away.
Right.
If you're open to it, then come have fun and join in.
Let's do it. I keep waiting for one of the major dance shows. And So You Think does male duets all the time, so it's not. But Dancing with the Stars, of course, having a same-sex couple, I think, is something that is a conversation that's ongoing. I know Strictly had two men
just happened in
dancing.
England.
Yeah. It was a professional dance. It wasn't a contestant and a pro, but they did think about it for season 28. I will say that. There was a conversation that happened. And it didn't happen this season, but I'm hoping that we see it. I feel like it's time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
And who's to say that you wouldn't grow from learning both sides, the lead and the follow? Like in ballet, I know the men are expected to partner and lift the female. Who's to say that you wouldn't be a better partner if you knew what the girl needed to do so that she could be better for you? If you realize that, okay, maybe you need to move her here to help her stay in her box, like, who's to say that you wouldn't learn from that and grow from that to make you a better partner if you know where she was coming from and what she needed so that you could help her in that way? And I think having that conversation of like, okay, well, maybe, what if girls reverse the role and they learned how to partner so that they could understand what the guys are doing to help them be better partners to the males and vice versa. I think if you can understand both aspects of anything, if you can understand both sides of any concept or dance form or, partnering situation, I think you're just going to grow and get better from it and evolve into that what you want to be. And how you get better is learning and understanding both sides and how the coin works on both angles.
Yeah, understanding the mechanics of it. I mean, because like understanding hand positions when you're the partner lifting everyone, and then understanding, because I think sometimes things, especially in ballet, there's timing issues, and if you're not understanding the timing issue of your partner, it's a mess. It certainly is. Yeah, you're like, oh gosh.
Put them point shoes on, lads.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. That's a whole other conversation of point shoes. I don't know many men that are like, I would love to wear some point shoes. I don't know many women
We
that
had
are
to try
like,
it at
these are
dance
awesome.
college years ago, and that was
There's
hats
a
off to them for
full company, I think. Ballet Trocadero does it.
Trocadero,
Yeah.
yes. They've done it, decades too. I mean, they've been around forever. And but bravo to them, because I think, I always will throw myself into a ballet class, but I probably will never throw my point shoes back on. I think I'm really good. I'm retired from that.
I've dabbled in it, and
it hurts,
props
right?
to the females. That's all I will say. Props to them.
Oh man,
Props to them.
it's not easy at all. Yeah, especially when you have so much, like in Nutcracker season right now, all the ballerinas right now going through a performance.
Probably
that's
watching
just-
this now, just
Crazy.
breaking
Yeah,
it.
just breaking
Yeah.
it and everything else.
Yeah.
Counting those things.
Yeah. One thing I also wanted to touch upon, and this comes out of a conversation that you and I had, based off of an Instagram post you put up. I want to say now it was probably 2 months ago or somewhere around there. And I think it's also it's not necessarily boys dance too. It kind of sort of goes off into more of the Me Too kind of situation. But you were sexually harassed.
Yes.
And you thought you were the only one and didn't want to say anything. And I'll let you tell a little bit more of the story.
So I was sexually harassed on a convention that I assisted for. And I kind of just bottled it down, not really wanting to say anything about it. More for, I guess, my sake. And, I'm a new dancer. I'm still figuring out the industry stuff. And I didn't know if me saying anything at the point was going to either have an impact or not. And it's just something you think won't make a difference no matter what, You think your followers, you think of the numbers, and you think of how many people are going to see it, if people even care about it, and that was something I really had to think about throughout the time. And then there became a moment where we ran into each other, just out on a night in, and I tried to avoid him at all costs, and I guess he ended up seeing me. So he sent me a message, and that message kind of sparked the fuel and the fire that I already had bottled down throughout the year of it happening. Because I was ready to leave it alone, I wasn't ready to say
this is
anything.
behind me.
I was fine. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna leave it alone, not say anything, knowing that I wasn't the only one too. So that was more of a major, I guess, hardship for me to keep down more inside, because I was like, this is also happening to others and I feel guilty for not saying anything. It's just like, everything's so cautious on my end. And after that message and receiving it and how hurtful it was, and how like, not even, I guess, realizing that he had a problem, like in that message, I was like, something's seriously wrong with you, and it has nothing to do with me. And
Right.
I was like, I processed it the next day, and I was like, I need to share it. Like, I need to say something about this. I need to do something. So I did that, and the impact it had on the dance industry and how many people came forward to me privately, and just the support I got was so overwhelming. Like, I cried for hours on my bed, like just receiving, reading all the messages. It was like so overwhelming. I had to go out for a walk in a park and just breathe fresh air, because I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Not so much that I had shared the story, but so much that I feel like I had helped others by sharing it, and helped them kind of not so much publicly say that it happened to them also, but for them to feel comfortable to reach out to someone like me, sharing their story was like, it was emotional, and I'm glad that I did it. And I think it's just important to realize, especially kids that are dancing for conventions and taking class and becoming close with your teacher, it's definitely a subject we need to touch on.
Boundaries.
You know what I mean? Boundaries, yeah. Like, how close do you become with that teacher? Do you hang out with them after class? And what age is appropriate?
And social media, I don't know if your teacher should always be sliding into your DMs. Like, there's certain things, and you teach,
Right.
Rob. So what sort of boundaries, because you do have to have some boundaries with your students, and how do parents have to know how to make sure that their kid knows that there should be boundaries as well? It's a complicated question.
It is. I think a couple of different things. First and foremost, I just want to bounce back to that. Thanks for sharing your story.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, you say you're there, you were crying your way through. I mean, that's something, in life that unfortunately is a moment that you're gonna push by, and you're gonna be stronger on the other side of it. So thanks for sharing that, mate.
Thank you very much.
I think from a teacher's standpoint, look, I mean, the responsibility is on you within that feeling, and it's a conversation for a different day in terms of where do I think it can go and where do I think it can grow. And at the end of the day, it's an individual thing. You've got to turn around and look at yourself and wonder, what lines are we crossing here? Where do we feel and what can truly happen? But then to flip that back to, to somebody who, and I'm thinking back to kind of, when I was growing up and wanting to do this and even wanting to move to America, right? I mean, it's the term, the American dream. Well, I can tell you it's well and truly still alive, no matter what's going on in the world today.
Right.
Yeah.
But the feeling is that you want something so bad that you're going to do anything for it, and you're going to feel as though you're down. You don't have to. And have that support system around you, and whether or not you can talk to your parents or coaches or whatever that truly is, your best friend, speak up.
Right.
There's something that's really kind of fresh in my head right now too, is the brand new musical Jagged Little Pill, and it's just opening on
Alanis
Broadway.
Morissette,
Yeah.
yeah.
So literally this week is going to be their kind of opening. That show is unreal, by the way. That's not me massively plugging that, but it hits on so many different stories and things that are relevant today. So I feel like the arts in general needs to do more to get this out there in various forms. I don't think the responsibility should be solely on individuals when the time has happened or something that you've gone through, and then it's sharing your personal story. And I truly applaud you for doing that, mate. But the feeling is that I think as a community as a whole, telling different stories, pieces of choreography, using art as in general to be able to cut through the boundaries, I feel like that's what I would love to see a lot more of. And this musical is a huge kind of step towards that too. But there needs to be more. So I don't know where that leaves it, but
Yeah, and we had a conversation of just like our conventions and competitions and things, because they're in hotel rooms and things like that, and you have to make sure that you as a dancer understand that you shouldn't be going into your teacher's hotel room, even if it's just to like pick up I don't know, music or something, a costume or something. And to make sure that the conventions and the people running these production companies that are running it understand that there are clear rules. There's clear rules for the teachers and they understand, and that the students understand it, and that maybe there's an outside reporting agency, because it's tough when you're like, who do you report this to?
There's no HR department for any of these things.
No.
And that's kind of within that feeling, you know?
Yeah, we say HR, and I'm like, who do you report this to? Now, you were able, and I just want to clear this up too, just in case anyone, your situation was cleared up, the teacher was fired.
Right.
So it was handled swiftly, especially there were more people in your situation too. But that's the other thing. A lot of people worry about speaking up about someone, especially if someone has any type of power, clout, fame, or anything else like that, because then you're thinking, I'm going to lose out on jobs. As a male, I think the stigma is even harder when you've been sexually harassed. It's impossible as a female, and I think it's almost even harder sometimes as a male.
Well, truly.
Because we think, well, how can a male be sexually harassed? They can. And so it's just that kind of this dialogue of parents, I think, need to talk, teachers need to talk, the production companies need to talk, and really find a way just to find some clear boundaries or have clear rules, and everyone signs a contract at the beginning of the season. You're right in the middle of your competition season, aren't you?
Yeah. And we have, at my studio, we have rules and we have boundaries, and we understand when we go to these events, it's on us. And considering most competitions, in fact, I don't think I've ever been to one that it's not a private event. Competitions are open to the entire public. I mean, those doors are unlocked from the time that the competition starts to the time that the last award ceremony ends. Anybody can enter that building at any time. They, of course, they encourage and they say no photo and video. Doesn't mean that they can't catch every single person that's taking pictures or videos. And I think with social media being huge right now, that's a whole nother field to tackle. Like, how do you regulate who comes into these events with cameras and phones? And I know that's been an issue in the past, people taking pictures and videos at the event, not just to protect the choreographer and the choreography, but the kids. I mean, and to say that and kind of open that can of worms, I think, is a whole other conversation. And where do event directors step in, and where do they say, okay, well, yes, we want to make it a public event because, I mean, we've never heard of charging to go to a dance competition, but where you kind of regulate that and understand, okay, parents, yes, will allow that, teachers, yes, choreographers, yes, but like random people, you just don't know who's inside your venue.
It could be inappropriately videotaping. And that's a real slippery slope, because there's some dark things on the way. It really is. It really is. And that stuff is scary too.
Yeah.
It's really, really scary to me. And, and you've got, that, and that's where social media too can be scary. I'm like, I love it when parents say parent monitored, like Instagram, because I do see sometimes 14-year-olds and under sort of monitoring their own Instagram. And I'm like, it is scary, because I'm like, who's sliding into your DMs?
Right.
Yep.
You just don't know.
You don't.
I know. And these are things that, we're all like, oh gosh, we're heading into scary territory. But if we're not talking about it and out in the open, I worry that we set ourselves up in the dance community into a situation like what USA Gymnastics went through, which is devastating. And it first came to light, I think, for the public, especially 2016 it started, but I think everyone kind of caught on when they did the trial in 2018. But this went on for decades. And that's the thing. If we're not all looking,
knew about it,
Yeah. So if we're not all looking out for each other and saying it's okay to speak up,
I mean, I feel like as much as we're saying, social media is this scary territory, it's also opened up the conversation. I mean, I feel like I'm twice your age, but the feeling is that right? I mean, you're living in a time now where it is the norm, to go out there and do it. I mean, we used to send smoke signals and carrier pigeons. That was the way we
send a letter.
That was a Twitter. Send a letter in the mail. Don't know what that is. They don't even teach cursive in school.
No, anymore. I don't know how to write anymore.
But I think that the feeling is, I think that it's also been a positive thing. The fact that it is out there, the fact that people are watching, the fact that you can have each other's back, the fact that when we bring this right back to boys dance too, and kind of taking that full circle, that's a movement that has been pushed, and that is a whole thing that has been activated. The community gets together. Why? Because those drums were beaten. Those connectors, those connectors, if you think of Malcolm Gladwell, I'm a big fan of his kind of within that feeling, but connectors and mavens within that feeling. But what I mean is you think back to Boston and Paul Revere. I mean, he ran out and said those Brits were coming. That word kind of spread like wildfire. So getting the word out, and I want to thank you as well for even kind of including this in today's topic. I mean, it's a tough one. It's a lump in the throat conversation, but even if this helps a couple of people who are watching now, or kind of when this stays on the internet, it's an amazing thing.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
I think just like one more thing to touch on that's important is no matter how many followers, no matter how much work you've done, how many influencers you bring in, how much money you're going to make for that convention, does not take away you being whatever human being you are, you know what I mean? So I feel like these conventions hire these teachers that have all these followers, have, all these connections that are going to bring in studios and bring in that money and make that check. But when something like in my situation happens and you have to fire that teacher, not only does it affect whatever kid that happened to, it affects your company, it affects the dance community as a solid. So
It's
like,
collateral damage, like every way. It's a ripple
spreads
effect.
out, like not just that one person, it spreads out to the whole wide. And if nothing's said about it, then no one knows about it. It's kind of like that, you know what I mean? So it's like, and again, I know I haven't been the only one, and I know there's been so much incidents that's happened throughout this whole year with choreographers, and it's like, it's interesting to see it happen on the social media. And
I want to say something to add to this, because I think I had posted something. I think I had like reposted your Instagram post, and I just said, if anyone wants to kind of talk and come forward, you can do it off the record, you can do it on the record, because I'm like, I do want to do something. At the time, again, just didn't know how I was going to do it, what venue, and a lot of people like slid into my DMs, and they were like, thank you for doing this. It's about time. Like, this person's been doing, like, there is a subculture of stuff going on with people we all know, but nobody's really talking about it. Nobody's really doing anything about it. And then other people told me, back off. Don't talk about this. It's not the right time.
yeah.
And I was like, really? When is the right time?
Right. If there's no right,
never
if
the right
it's
time.
if it's not going to be later, why not now? Right. Like.
Well, and I don't understand, like, if I'm not talking about it and you're not talking about it, and we're just smushing all this stuff down.
Who is?
Right. And who was going to get hurt out of this by us not talking about it? And so that was also an eye-opener. I mean, someone said to my face, stop.
Wow.
And I was just out of an Instagram story. And another mom who we've been kind of sort of pushing in the direction I was too, was told at her studio, like, don't mess this up. Because people, again, it's the reputation of the studio and everything else. But I would rather, if I had a kid, I would rather send my kid to a studio where I know that they're protected.
Well and truly.
Right?
Absolutely.
Well and truly. I mean, whether or not the level of the teaching or the reputation of a studio, or that you're going to win that competition, or you're actually going to make a final, whatever that placement is, just because of the reputation of a studio and the goal. Like, I feel like there's so many different things that are hidden up. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's like in anything in life, you want your child or your brother, sister, auntie, uncle, whatever, you want the best for that person that you love. And I think that it's a hard one, right? So I guess what I'm really coming back to, and what I truly would love to see happen again, is the industry as a whole. Maybe that's background checks, maybe that's mandatory things, maybe that's vetting all of the instructors, maybe that's a survey, maybe I don't know what that truly entails. I mean, look, I can talk about my immigration over here to the States, and just thinking about that. So I treated moving to America as though I was going to college. Like, I was at a performing arts college and all that, but I felt like I wanted to get to know the industry. I wanted to come out to LA and get a feel for it and make genuine friendships. And the same in Nashville. I work in country music quite a lot, choreography and music videos and all that, and I wanted to know what that was like. The same thing in the States coming over, and I treated my immigration kind of fees as though it was my college tuition.
Right.
And that was kind of an interesting thing. It was indeed. But the feeling then is well, what is that? What are you truly investing in? Are you investing in your growth and your achievement? And truly, how can you get that support system? And I think too, what's really interesting is people are afraid to ask how you got there, or where that went. And I think the conversation can shift that way too. Meaning, don't be afraid to ask questions as to, what studio did you go to? Okay, you never went there. Well, what's your journey? Like, me getting to learn your journey right now is so powerful and inspiring to me. So I wish you nothing but the very best in your careers going forward. And that's powerful. It's amazing. And I think that having that support system and reaching out to people, ask questions. You're not alone.
Right.
And I think social media, you can ask questions for people that you don't even know.
It's true.
It's more
Like,
just talk to someone. That's it.
Yeah.
Talk to someone. Don't be afraid.
Don't be stuck in your phone. Is what
Yeah.
it is all the time too. It is
Right.
a little face-to-face communication is good too. We are here obviously in a Thanksgiving week too, and I've been kind of asking people. I did this last night at Dancing with the Stars, and it had some fun answers. But I would love to know what you guys are grateful for when it comes to dance.
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess in my situation, I'm just grateful for where it's brought me in life. I feel like I've learned so much. I feel like my mental health has been so much better. I feel like I'm financially stable. And I come from a mom that, has done everything in her power alone to raise me and my 2 other siblings. And
She was
it's just-
busy.
she's busy. And yeah, I'm just grateful for where it's brung me, how many lessons I've learned, how many people it's connected me with. I've met so many incredible people through dance, like people that have changed my life, like literally changed my life just through their words and through their souls and hearts. And yeah, it's just forever going to be a journey, and I'm thankful for that. It's never not a roller coaster. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm always on a ride. So yeah.
I love it. Jonah.
I'm thankful, to base off of that, but like just the body to be able to dance, because we ask as dancers we ask our bodies to do so much. And I think just to wake up every day with this body that God has given me, and it's just the ability to do what I do every day and continue to do it every day, because if you think about it, to ask my leg to go here, every single day, day after day, how's your body feeling? Does it get tired? So I'm thankful that, I'm able to do what I do every day, and that I can continue to do it safely, and that it allows me to have fun, and that I can do it, and that it's something that I love. And I think that dance is just bringing me so much joy over the years. And just, I think, starting out as not young, but like 11, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't like sports. I was like, well, I'm just going to sit at home because I don't like anything. So I think just finding dancing and be able to find something that brings joy into my life, like genuine joy, rather than outside of hanging out with friends and things like that, like something I can do on my own to better myself and to mature myself and make connections. I think dance has given me that opportunity, and I think I'm so thankful that I'm able to do that every day, and that I'm able to celebrate that with people that love the exact same thing, and that are like-minded, and that love to do what I do, and just being in community with that every day, I think is just so special. And that I get to do that is something I'm thankful for.
I love it. Rob.
I'm thankful it's given me a Thanksgiving, moving to America.
Yeah.
But no, outside of that, it's family. I'm thankful for the family that's given me globally. I've been very, very lucky to have taught all over the world from a really young age, from every corner of the globe to every ethnicity, to every race, to every culture and feeling. Like it's a global family, and that truly what it is. That I'd say that's the biggest thing. I'm sat in LA. I'm just a lad from Liverpool. That now I'm out in LA, and yet I'm going to compete. But I got to go Dancing with the Stars. I got to meet you a year ago because of it. Within our friends. But and long may that continue. I'm really thankful that I've got to meet you both today, and it's it's cool.
We'll all follow each other on Instagram. I follow all you already. So. No, I just want to thank you, because this was kind of like an experiment in my brain. It came out of, the conversation I had with Howard, and I'm glad that we just had this time to talk
happy.
about it, and, and just throw ideas around, because I do think that we need to continue to sort of push Boys Dance too. It shouldn't just be a hashtag that was fun for 2019. It should be something that continues on moving forward, and pushing the dance industry to make sure that everyone's safe and everyone's in a healthy place too. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you for being
you
here,
very
you
much.
guys.
Appreciate
I
it.
know. Just so everyone knows your Instagram handle so they can follow you, I'm going to start with you, Howard. You're going to look into that camera and let everyone know.
Okay, it's at Howard Johnson _.
Jonah, you're going to look into that camera.
It is just one word, at Jonah Boswell.
Rob.
At _Rob Glover. GLOVER. That's the accent.
Love it.
I don't have an accent, but I'm going to let you guys know we will be back next week. It'll be my birthday next week, too. And it's going to be
love it.
Giving Tuesday, so I'll be throwing out a link for American Dance Movement. $67 will help an underprivileged child have access to dance for a year. Pretty good, right?
Wow, that's
All thanks to Nigel Lithgow and Adam Shankman's American Dance Movement. Disclosure, I am on the advisory board. But we're going to have a great show next week. I want to thank all of you guys for joining us. Have a wonderful, safe Thanksgiving if you are celebrating. Thanks to Dance Network and Popcorn Talk. And for all your dance news, check out dancenetwork.tv. See y'all next week.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.